I want to build a snowman. Hello, welcome to the Wild Review of the Wild Reviewer, and welcome to day 18 of 25 Wild Christmas Review Days. We're almost there, everybody. We're almost there. You can sleep easy knowing that Christmas is almost here. But we've talked about Nickelodeon cartoon Christmas specials. We've talked about Cartoon Network cartoon Christmas specials. I think I would be remiss not to mention Disney cartoon Christmas specials. And I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I've only got 2 in store. But technically, I guess I do have more, because what we're going to talk about that will lead us to the end of this series, I guess, will also be Disney cartoons because of how Disney operates as a business and what they technically own. Anyway, so yeah, that's that. So we're only going to talk about 2 animated shows here. 2 shows that I have a good amount of things that I want to say about them, particularly one of them. But that's not going to be today. Today we are going to talk about Phineas and Ferb, a show that absolutely blew up on Disney Channel. So much that it is coming back. It's another show that they are currently making. With the original cast, they're continuing the story. I guess they had so much fun saving the universe that now they want to tell a whole new line of new stories. I guess we'll see how that turns out, but until then, let's talk about the Christmas special. Or specials. Phineas and Ferb was a cartoon that aired on both the Disney Channel and Disney XD from 2007 till 2015. The show followed stepbrothers Phineas and Ferb, keeping themselves and their friends occupied during summer vacation by building crazy and sometimes dangerous contraptions that some would deem as impossible to be created by children. As this all happens, their older sister Candace does everything she can to bust the boys to their parents. Meanwhile, the family's pet platypus named Perry lives a double life, being a secret agent who always faces off against Dr. Doofenshmirtz, who always has an evil scheme and a hand-built innator that is planned to give him whatever he wants. In 2009, the special Christmas Vacation premiered and saw Phineas, Ferb, and their friends trying to show Santa their appreciation when he arrives. Doofenshmirtz, however, struggles to find a reason to hate Christmas, as he admits to being one of the few evil geniuses who doesn't hate the holiday. But when he finds a reason, he activates his newly built Naughty-inator and ends up signaling to the North Pole that everyone in Danville has been naughty. Realizing that Santa won't come to Danville because of this, Phineas, Ferb, and their friends all band together with the help of 2 of Santa's elves to set things right for the town. Then, in 2011, a Phineas and Ferb family Christmas premiered. The brothers decide to put on a traditional family Christmas special with special guest star Kelly Clarkson. Meanwhile, Doofenshmirtz attempts to get ready for Christmas when he believes it has arrived too quickly. The only time I ever talked about Phineas and Ferb on the Wild Review was, I believe, when they did their series finale. And I don't remember what I said. I don't remember a thing I said when the finale aired, but I'm pretty sure I had nothing but nice things to say about it. Phineas and Ferb was a very good show. Very creative as well, and the one thing that always blew my mind about it was just how many storylines and connections the creators and the people behind the show had to keep track of. Because this isn't just a show about 2 brothers doing anything and everything they can over summer break with the subplot of their pet platypus being a secret agent. It's like multiple different storylines are happening with each character that it's absolutely insane. The amount of connections one character will have to another character, like you would need a bulletin board to really pin out what connection each character has with another. Like, Doofenshmirtz once dated Phineas's mom. There's a connection between Vanessa and Candace, but also Vanessa and Ferb. Baljeet probably has a... Actually, I don't think Baljeet has a connection with anybody. The one thing I've always associated Phineas and Ferb with were secrets. I felt like every character had some secret that was being hidden from another character. Like, it was generally really funny. I feel towards the end of the series, however, they were probably starting to run out of ideas, because Phineas and Ferb was such a very simple idea, and the stuff that they were building at the very beginning, or the things that they were doing, were very simple as well. Like building the roller coaster, celebrating the month of winter in summer. They put on a circus, they made a movie. Like, it was simple stuff, but towards the end, they just started making all these really big and very impressive contraptions, some to which I don't even think had names, and if they did have names, I think they were like really crazy names. That may have been like a small downfall in my opinion, but at the same time, I think they made it up with just the amount of characters that they had in the show that they were able to tell stories with. Because there would be episodes that mainly focused on Isabella, or Doofenshmirtz, or maybe even Vanessa. Like, there were so many characters that there was never a bland story to tell with just one of them. Sometimes they would flip the script. It wouldn't just be Phineas and Ferb with Doofenshmirtz being the subplot. It would be Doofenshmirtz as the main character with Phineas and Ferb as the subplot. There was one episode, going back to Isabella, where her little Chihuahua dog was essentially living the same life Perry did because they're part of the same organizations. And in a sense, it kind of like flipped the story from being seen as essentially a boy show to a girl show, because it focused on Isabella as the main plot, and the Chihuahua was facing off against an evil woman instead of an evil guy. Like, it got interesting. Some episodes also just kind of changed up the style completely. There were a few episodes that I believe took place in the past, one of them during the Stone Age. There are a few holiday specials, like the Christmas special. There's also a few Halloween episodes, I believe. One episode takes place into the future. They have a Star Wars episode. So there's, a few episodes that are like, okay, these are here. But it was still a very entertaining show, a very creative one also. The songs were fantastic. I think every episode of this show had at least one song in them, which is very impressive and very hard to do. But it was a very cool show, and it definitely left an impact on Disney Channel, Disney XD, wherever it aired. It was really cool. So now with the Christmas specials, I guess I should start off with the notion that I will not be talking about Swinter. I know some people may consider that to also be a holiday episode. In fact, it's paired up with a Phineas and Ferb Family Christmas. At least on Disney Plus, it's paired up with that, which is just kind of interesting because I'm pretty sure Swinter, it's its own episode in season 1 also, so the fact that it's on there twice, that's a little strange. So we're just talking about two of them. We're talking about two specials, and the Christmas Vacation one, I really enjoyed. I think it's a very cool Christmas episode. It's a very fun Christmas episode. I like the fact that it is not an episode that does take place over the summer, so we're actually in the month of December. There is snow everywhere. Everybody's in that festive mood. They would air this special a lot. I think because it was, at least at the time, Disney Channel's biggest show. They obviously were playing this special episode a lot. This is also one of the first special length episodes of the show. Typically the show would fall within a 30-minute time slot, with there being 2 10-minute segments or 11-minute segments, however long they were. This episode was just one episode, and depending on what version you watch, it could be anywhere from like an average 30-minute episode to even a 35-minute episode, so it had a few extra minutes added to it. And it was very enjoyable, very typical Phineas and Ferb episode, honestly, just taking place at Christmas. I like the idea that Doofenshmirtz is one of those villains that should hate Christmas, but he can't find a reason why he should. At the very start of this series, they definitely aimed Doofenshmirtz to be a villain, but as the series goes on, and especially in this episode, you do see soft spots to him where he's like, I think I don't have a problem here. This was one of the few shows where I feel like they actually have you rooting for the villain sometimes. I definitely think in this episode, even though he does go off and finds a reason to hate Christmas, I think that's what he intentionally wants. He wants to have a reason to hate Christmas, so this way it falls in line with his evilness. But in the opening, even when he's singing his song about not hating Christmas, that does make him very likable, despite him tying Perry up. There isn't just one song in this episode, there's actually multiple, and all of them are pretty cool. None of them are earworm-related songs, or maybe one of them is, but they're all very fitting for the episode. I especially like the last one. We see a montage of all the characters during the credits, opening up gifts on Christmas morning, actually being with their families on Christmas. It gives off a very warm and festive feel to it. I remember watching this special one morning on Christmas Day itself, and this particular scene played, and there was just something very fitting about me near the tree, Christmas morning, opening up gifts, and then seeing this on the TV with the characters essentially doing the same thing. I just liked that. And maybe that's also why I like this special, because I have that connection with it. Obviously, it's not just those two subplots that are going on throughout the show. Candace has her own little subplot. as she's trying to find the perfect gift for Jeremy. Buford has a small little plot as he's waiting for that one moment to do something good because he admits that he's a naughty kid. There's technically a subplot where the grandparents are stuck at the airport, but we don't focus on that a lot. I think that's more of just a thing that's added into the story and a reason why the parents aren't home on Christmas Eve. The only thing I can honestly think of that probably is like for me with this episode, not necessarily like something I would consider it to be bad, but just like, you know, like, okay, that happened. You know, there was a comment made that, oh, you used to love Christmas and such, and, you know, at the very end when he goes off with Santa, they kind of give him like a very quick moment where he's just like looking at the kids and he's like, thank you. And it's like, I've seen this so many times, and I feel like that if they were trying to do something with this elf character and his relation with Christmas and because he's old, I feel like maybe we should have spent a little more time on it. It just kind of feels like it's very, very chill, if that makes sense. Like, it's nothing too impressive or important. But other than that, there's really nothing else that I have to say about this episode other than I like it. And it's very cool, and very chill, and it's very good. Phineas and Ferb Family Christmas, however, that's a bit different. Not necessarily in a bad way, but it is just kind of an ordinary episode of Phineas and Ferb. It does take place over the summer, and it's very quick also. It's very musical. They don't waste any time with setting things up. Phineas is just like, let's do a family Christmas special, and they just jump into it. And instantly we're getting a title card, we're getting introduced to all the characters in it, we're getting right into Isabella's Let It Snow song. It moves pretty fast. It moves so fast that I honestly believe you could have cut Doofenshmirtz's subplot, because it really wasn't needed. I mean, you could tell they were just kind of trying to figure out a way for him to get incorporated with the episode, because even Major Monogram, when you see him on the screen, he's like, well, Carl's not here, I don't know what Doof is doing, why don't you go stop him anyway? And then, like, Perry goes off to save the day. I mean, nothing evil was really happening. They got Kelly Clarkson in this episode, which is very funny. That is legitimately her doing her own voice, and she does not sing at all. You would expect that a celebrity like Kelly Clarkson would sing. She does not. I guess you can argue maybe she's joining along with everybody as they sing the final song, but you do not hear her sing physically. I found that pretty humorous. Yeah, again, I mean, it just moved really fast. There wasn't even enough time for Candace to be mad and be like, you guys are busted. It's like she discovered it, she called her mom, and then she just kind of joined in. It felt a little weird. I would argue that it's an editing thing, but I think it was more of just like a timing thing. Either they were just trying to make fun of how these family Christmas specials go, the style that they were doing. Maybe it was purposely supposed to be fast-paced because they know they only have 11 minutes, or I guess in this case, less than 10 minutes because they have to incorporate Perry's subplot. But it was just very fast-paced. I think they just had a lot of festive ideas that they wanted to do, and knowing that they probably weren't going to do a full-blown Christmas special again, let alone a 30-minute Christmas special like the one before, they just had to cram everything in within 11 minutes. So other than that, that's the special. It was fine, it was very musical, and it was a special on TV. I would definitely prefer the first Christmas special just because it feels a little more festive. But to their credit with the Family Christmas, they went all out with the decor and the way that they made the episode look. I mean, if you had told me that this episode was taking place in the summer and I started watching it in the middle of the episode, at least in the Phineas and Ferb plot, I don't know if I'd believe you. So they did a pretty good job with that, making it look like a Christmas special. And with that, that's all I have to say on Phineas and Ferb. I would definitely recommend... you know what? I'll recommend both. Both of them are very enjoyable, but I think you're going to enjoy Christmas Vacation a little bit more, just because of its length and because it has a little more time to tell an easy story. There are a lot of funny moments in it, but there's also a lot of funny moments in Family Vacation, so you know, you can always watch both. Add that on to the Christmas Vacation special. It's not even going to add up to an hour, honestly. So that's it. That's all I got to say of Phineas and Ferb. And that's the end of this one. We're done with Phineas and Ferb. Now we're going to move right along. We're going to keep on going and go to the second and the final Disney show that we're going to be talking about. It's a show very similar to Phineas and Ferb. One could say it exists within the realm of Phineas and Ferb. You can also argue it lives within the shadows of Phineas and Ferb, and that's definitely how I would look at this show. I had a lot of hope for it, and I lost that hope. That's an interesting way to end this, right? Interesting way to leave you hanging during the holidays. Come back tomorrow, you'll see what I'm talking about. Thanks for watching The Wild Review on The Wild Reviewer, and you just saw me review a thing.